Hi there, welcome. If you're new here, I'm Catherine. And if you're a regular, welcome back. I'm working on Grungy Edith today. Refined Edith, you may notice something missing here. And you know what that means. Because one of these things is not like the other. So, as far as I know, Refined Edith is... she's done, and I'm so happy with her. I really, really, really love her spine so much. She's just so pretty, and I love her profile. She's still a little grungy too. Artists, I think, can also be quite laissez-faire. You know, even the fine artists, the delicate fine artists, I believe, have their grungy side that they appreciate and enjoy. So I'm just really, really, really happy. I don't know which one I love more. I really don't, because they're different, and this one's bigger this way, but this one's bigger this way. So now something I did this morning working in Grungy Edith, because she still needs she still needs some pockets. She still needs the pockets filled. There's a few things that Grungy Edith needs done. But one thing I did in Refined Edith that I still want them to be like sisters. I think of this book as the one that maybe she threw in her knapsack and threw her paints in and her gear and headed out to the fields or down to the creek or for a walk through the down the lane. And this one she came home and maybe was her home book for working on, maybe transferring things into, you know, artists will do rough sketches out in plein air and then quite often bring them home and refine them and work on them more and adjust and redo and that sort of thing. So one thing I did in here, because of course she feels, even though yes, she's her own little kind of grunge, she still seems to me a little bit more elegant. So I had this pair of earrings that I got from Our Lady's Hospital Auxiliary Shop. These here. And they were just in a little plastic bag. And when I got home, I don't know whether I purchased them this way or whether it just eventually happened, but the backs fell off. And so it was just this, the oval part with the, I mean, it's not anything priceless or precious, but obviously somebody loved them. I mean, I think it's rather elegant. I bought them. Anyhow, so that actually worked out really well because it left the back really flat from where the clip-on was. So obviously it's from the, you know, 40s, 50s, 60s when clip-ons, I remember my mother wearing clip-ons. And so I sewed this into Refined Edith. Oh, there's a little leftover. And I put it on this pretty, I used the ribbon to hold it on and onto this pretty lace. This is actually a lace collar from off of a dress that's along here, which is why it's ruffled, because if I laid it out flat for you, it's curved because it's meant to go around the neckline of a dress. So I I used the red because I thought it looked nice with the red of the cover, and I love how it's just sort of peeking out there, and there's a little bit of the red here, and I like how that turned out. And I got to thinking this morning, because I was working on Grungy Edith this morning, because I believe Refined Edith, I think she's done. But I'm holding off on her. I'm going to be putting them in my Etsy shop at the same time. So we're still a few days away. But I thought, you know what? They seem to be sister books. So I thought, let's use the other earring as well. Might as well put it into this book, as if maybe it was something special to her and she wanted to save it. So I worked on that this morning, and I did record it, and it was such, the video was such utter chaos. There's just no way I could post it. I couldn't post it. It was so crazy, me trying to figure out what I was doing and undoing it and starting it again, and such is the case with junk journals. You know, it's trial and error, and sometimes that's nice to see on a video, and sometimes it's just not good. So in this case, I looked at this profile, which I'm loving. There's some, I put a few little dangles onto some of the tabs. So there's a little dangle here that was from a necklace that I took apart. Let me lift it up so you can see it better. So it's just a little, it's lost its shine. I have a feeling at one point it was shiny. And then here, this pretty one, remember we did this one together. That's some of the faux painter's rag that we made here with a little bit of lace, and then I made a tab out of it, and I put one of those tiny little lockets that I have here. Inside the locket is let's see if I can remember. Oh yes, so this side, although it's very hard to see, it's a teeny tiny little flower. Hold on, there we are, from one of the tiny little drawings that's in the book. The book is full of here and there in the book they put, I'm trying to find one so I can show you, they put tiny little pale colored drawings. So I put one in one side. The other side, I didn't have a photo tiny enough from any of the book photos. I wanted to be able to use all of the book photos. Oh, by the way, if you're new here, what I've challenged myself with these two books is to use The Edwardian Lady, the book The Edwardian Lady, which is Edith Holden's biography, and use as much of it as I can to create ephemera for these two books. And I'm still allowing myself to use, you know, lace and fabric-y things. Oh, hold on. I think someone's home from work. Yay, Sweetie Pie got home from work early. And although you're watching this on a Saturday, it's Friday, so that's nice. The weekend starts early. Anyhow, so the photo in this locket is, it's either one of Queen Victoria's sons or her grandsons. I don't know which one it is, but it looks sweet in there. So that's there. What else did I do this morning? see how there's pockets I have to fill. That's a pocket there, and it needs filling, but I'm not sure what I want to put in yet because I still have all kinds of things that I've made, and postcards, and I made this little thing. I felt like I was channeling my inner, if Francesca from Junk Journal Joy and Marlies and Eva from Bohemian Crafting, if they all got together and had a baby, I feel like I was channeling the three of them when I made this. And it's just little, that's Edith's father. No, it's not. Pardon me. That's a friend of her husband's. He was a fellow artist. Anyhow, I cut out some of the delicate little drawings and things and put in a little glassine pocket, and did some grungy sewing, and that's one of the photos. The Holden family must have been extremely comfortable financially. They did a lot of good works, especially with city children, bringing them out and giving them days out in the country. And they did a lot of work with, even back then, with the Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. They just did, it sounds like they were blessed with funds, and they made use of their funds for good reasons, good causes. Anyhow, and apparently this is one of those photos of a group of children that came out. There's a few of them. Apparently, even back then, girls came out as groups and boys came out as groups. And I remember times like that. That wasn't even so long ago. When I grew up and I was in school, one side of the playground was for the girls and one side of the playground was for the boys. And the girls were not allowed to play with the boys at recess. Or if you had lunch at school, I went home for lunch, but if you had lunch at school and then you went outside to play afterwards, girls played on the girls' side, boys played on the boys' side. There were girls' doors and boys' doors, and that's the way it was. So anyhow, I made this little thing. So I've got to find homes for all of these little, but I don't know yet, or whether they're going to be tucks or whether I'm going to turn them into pockets. I don't know. Anyhow, this needs more. I'm not sure what, because this is similar to what we did in Refined Edith. It's a pocket, but you really can't tell. Even though there's some little birds here, I feel like I need to put some lace across there or something, because it's not evident that that's a tuck. So, and then there's one over here. That one's a little easier. I added, oh, there we go. I added some of our watercolored paper from the actual book. So I like there, it says chapter 6 on it. So you actually know that it came from the Edwardian Lady. And I've already put a doily in there so the next owner can use the doily to make something. Just another little tab, pretty little tab hanging off with some sparkly things. But, oh, and this is some of our watercolor paper that we did. And again, it's also a tuck. I left it. It was so tempting to ink this, and you know that takes self-control on my part not to ink. That takes a lot of self-control. But I left it as it is so that you could see it's evident that this is cold press watercolor paper. And I liked it because I thought that, and it was serendipitous, with just a coincidence, that the colors from the papers that we created together looked nice with the colors from the map that's on this side. So I wonder if I should just leave that in there for now. That's a page out of a garden diary that I have. There's a pocket we made together that I still, again, haven't stuffed. Anyhow, I'm taking the long way around to say what I did this morning that did not end up being. You're never going to see it. I'll just be blunt. You're never going to see it. It was awful. Another little tuck spot here, if need be. It can hold things. Another pocket, if need be. I think I'm okay for pockets in here. I really do think I'm going to use all of these little goodies. And there were just as many goodies over in Refined Edith, and there's still some left over that I just haven't even got into. So I'm either going to save them for myself for another journal at some point, or I may split them up and send them to the new owner and let the new owner have fun with them. Same with split up what's left of any of the writer's rags. Now I did this morning as well. I just felt like I wanted more dangles, so on this little piece of lace that I put up here, and there's a corner, there were 2-3 pages from the Country Diary of an Edwardian Lady in the book of the Edwardian Lady. So I just tore the corner off of it. So page 79 was in the book. So I put page 79 into this book with a little bit of lace on it. So I used this just to dangle a little. It's a bracelet that I found that just has some little, pretty glass stones that somebody's run through a tumbler and then used wire to wrap around. I found a bracelet at a thrift store and cut it apart. So I did that this morning. And then this morning, this is what I worked on. Let me bring the camera down so I can explain a bit better what I did. So I decided that since they are sort of sister books, I put one earring into this and one into this. And it's not unusual for really expensive jewelry, true jewelry, especially like the royals and that, for the jewelry to be multi-purpose, that a brooch can also have a loop in the back and be worn as a necklace, or be worn as a brooch, or be attached to a tiara. They really make the good quality expensive stuff to be multifunctional. So that's the way I'm looking at these cheap earrings that fell apart. They're multifunctional. So again, the clasp fell off. This is a piece of bridal fabric that I found a bag of it at a thrift store one day. I tea-dyed it, so that's why it's a lovely, it tea-dyed just beautifully. I didn't know what to expect. I knew I had to do something because it was the kind of scrap bridal fabric where the glue that they had used for some of the things, some are sewn on, but some are glued on, and the glue had yellowed. And I thought, well, let's try and throw it into some tea and see if we can get the fabric to match what color the glue has turned. And it did. And I love it. So you can still see on the back, the pearls were sewn on, but I think the sequins or something or other in here. It's not unlike my first wedding gown. The the glue that held everything on my wedding gown all went yellow. There was no saving that dress. And I don't know if it wasn't the kind that you save. Anyhow, so what I did was I wanted it hanging out over the edge because you know I love a beautiful grungy waterfall of a profile of the open side of a book. Like, that's just, my stomach gets butterflies. I just love that so much. And so I love that this is all sort of flowing over the edge. And it couldn't have been more perfect. This little piece was exactly like this in my box. Oh, I'm not even in the camera. Catherine, thank you. It was exactly like this when it was in the box. And so all I had to do was I did glue it down to make sure it was nice and strong because I knew I was going to have to attach this baby to it. And although it's not very heavy, I still wanted to make sure everything was really secure. And then I wanted it to look like she sewed it on haphazard. So that's when even though it's glued on, I also used some thick upholstery thread and just sewed it like crisscross, haphazard, no pattern to it, as if it was a last minute thought that she wanted to save this. Maybe this was from an important occasion and sentimental, and same with this. You know, maybe they really were earrings that broke that belonged to someone she loved, and so she put one in each book. Who knows? And I decided, even though this is the green book, because the first one went into the other book as red, I decided to continue the red theme, and I used the red ribbon on this one. And I initially sewed it on with some thread just to make sure it's on there really good and tight. And then I also used, after I tied the bow, I used a little drop of 3-in-1 to make sure that bow does not come undone. And I love this. I really, really love it. I sound like Sally Field accepting her Academy Award. And if you're my age, you know what I'm talking about. Let's come back. It's not letting me. I don't want there. I want there. There we go. So, so now I'm very happy about that. And it looks like I wanted to put this here. And I will do that to myself. Do you do that? Where I put, I was going to call it a safety pin, paperclip, into places so that I remember where it is I want to put it. But I have one that I think I want to use instead, that I had to tear out of the other book. Of course, do you think I can find it now? Maybe I used it already. Maybe I put it in here. Nope. Because I made an error in this book that I had to cover up. And I had to tear off a whale tail tab. But the tab, I was able to save the tab. Did I put it in here? Is that it? No, that's not it. I like how that turned out. No, it's here somewhere. Oh, I like how all that turned out. I'm sorry if I sound like a broken record, but just nothing makes me happier than when a book that woke me up in the middle of the night thinking, oh, I've got to make this book, and it comes to life the way I hoped it would come to life. because here is the error. And here's where I can't remember whether I told you or not. So I'm going to tell you again. And fast forward if you're thinking, oh, jeepers, here she goes again. She forgets what she's told us, and she's already told us. So I'm going to tell you while I'm looking for the piece that's missing. I put a whale tail tab right here, not realizing that I already have a whale tail tab up here. So there is no need for a page to have two whale tail tabs on the same page. So I was able to carefully peel this whale tail tab off of here, but it still had the markings of the 3-in-1 that I had used. So I had to find a way to cover up the stains from the 3-in-1 because I was able to get it out of here without tearing the paper or tearing the whale tail tab. The only damage was the staining from the 3-in-1. So this picture, which is a full picture actually, let me get Grungy Edith out of the way. This is a design that Edith submitted for a contest to design a stained glass window. So what I decided was, because I wanted to put it in somewhere in one of the books, that made the decision. I needed to be able to cover both sides because both sides had 3-in-1 staining on it right here. So this side became a tuck spot, and this side became a little journaling spot. And then I used a little bit of I still had to cover the stain from the 3-in-1, so I used some washi tape that I got in Happy Mail. And I like how sometimes mistakes that, you know what, they're happy mistakes, just like that painter Bob Ross said. The happy little mistakes that happen. I'm going to pause and find the whale tail tab. I'm not losing my mind. I found it. So this was going to go, you can see where I tore it out of the book. I was ever so careful, and I talked it through, and I kept saying, please don't tear, please don't tear, please don't tear. And I actually didn't mind if this tore, because I could make another one of these, but I didn't want to tear the page. I didn't want to have to shorten the page. And it came off very nicely. It was very obedient, but it's got a little bit of lace on it. So, and this one is from the pages from the book, because you can see here the line. So it's one of the pages that we painted, because see how every single page has a line, has a border around either the text or the artwork. So I just want to put that onto signature 7, and I wanted it about halfway through, but I'm going to put it in a bit. I find these whale tail tabs, if it's going to be on a page in a book, I find if you marry up the shoulders of the tab with the page of the book, it will stick out way further than your cover. So there's a little tip for you. If you don't want that to happen, don't marry up the shoulders with the page. Now, if you want the shoulders married up with the page, it's not the end of the world, because I have done that by accident. And if you've glued it nicely, all you need to do is take some scissors and trim your tab a little bit shorter, and then ink that raw edge, and nobody will be the wiser that you did that. So there you go, a little hint for, I'm giving away all my error hints. What to do if you make a mistake here, what to do if you make a mistake there. No one will know. They'll think you planned the whole thing. And meanwhile, it's all a cover-up. Come on, off you come. I think I need some scissors. And just trim that. It's a bit of the paper that came with it. So I might as well take that off. There we go. Well, the weatherman better be right, because the weatherman or lady, I'm not sure, has promised glorious weather for where we live for the entire weekend. And it looked like I wanted this about halfway. So let's hope I get this right and that I'm not having to remove it and pray at the same time. The nice thing about 3-in-1 is you do have a little more time for wiggling and getting things straight and moving things in a bit. I hope you're all doing well. I'm having a really good eye day. In fact, I've had a good few eye days. I just didn't do any videos. Well, I did do videos, but most of them, I know I talk a lot, but in some of my videos, there's just way too much talking. And when I watch it later, I think, I can't post that. These people are going to think I'm on something. And it's just caffeine. And it's only caffeine from tea. It's not even coffee. Anyhow, so I would dare say 50% actually end up a hit delete instead of hit publish. But I did have my eyes. I stopped the glaucoma drops for 2 days and focused on my corneal erosion drops. Just major. I'm allowed to use them every 3 hours if I need to, so I was just using them every 3 hours during waking hours, and then the ointment at night, and got my eyes feeling better. And then I thought, all right, let's try again with the glaucoma drops. It's knock on wood. There's wood underneath that paper. They've been good, so I'm happy about that. So there we go. So see what I mean? I've got pockets to fill, and I've got plenty to fill them. I love how that turned out. That's Evelyn there. So I love that Evelyn's in it. I love that I was able to cover up that hideous attempt at lace tea dyeing that just puts me to shame when I see what my crush can do. But then I accept everyone has their talents, everyone has their strengths, and some have some and some have others, and that's the way it is. And hers is lace tea dyeing. I need to go for a sleepover and just watch her do it. I could sit back in a lawn chair and say, yeah, you're doing a good job over there while she does it. I like that. Okay, I may have to do that. So I'm going to, I've taken up your time explaining everything that you missed out on this week, and that's about as exciting as it's going to get for this Saturday morning. It's my understanding that my American neighbors to the south have a holiday weekend this weekend. I believe it's Memorial Day. If I'm correct, then I hope your Memorial Day is a good one. I suspect, I don't know enough, and I should know because I have American family, friends and family. when we have Remembrance Day, we honor anyone who served, dead or alive. And please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Memorial Day for you is to honor your veterans who are still alive. Am I correct? That you remember their service to the country. Is that correct? And then Remembrance Day is you remember the fallen soldiers, those who gave all for us. So we remember all of them on Remembrance Day on November 11th, where I live. So there we go. See all these tuck spots that need little tuckaroonies. Even right here, there's a little tuck spot right here that I've got to, I need to make it more evident that's a tuck spot. Mind you, putting something in it makes it evident, doesn't it? Like even by doing that, people will know, oh yes, there's a tuck spot. But I have some fussy cutting to do, or else I have this I can use, and I'm really tempted to use this one because we've all seen that one. This is in The Country Diary of an Edwardian Lady. It's page 80. If you have the book, look it up. This is in it. So I have a feeling I'm going to find somewhere to put this in because I love that with all those swallows. They're so beautiful. So there we go. That's it for today. And I really tried my best to make use of everything. There's a little bit of the leftover of a watercolor and a little bit of her handwriting. Came out of the text block. I used it if I could. All right, I got to get to work. So let's open the sister brooches back up, and hopefully the next time you see this book, these will be gone. And the reason you'll be seeing these is because I will be doing a flip through. So there we go. Look at those sister brooches there. I think that turned out nice. So even if they go to different areas of the world, they'll have a connection, and they'll be part of them. It'll be sort of like with the two little birds in Home Alone in New York City. Take care. Have a great rest of your day. Make it a good one. I hope your weather is wonderful where you are. And if it's not, I hope you're snuggly and safe wherever you are. Take care. Bye. We'll talk soon.